Thank you for checking out this video. Are you getting enough value from it? You see, this video was created for the purpose of adding value to you. So if this video make any sense to you, let me know in the comment section below. I'm interested in understanding what you take away from this video and if it makes sense to you, so we can provide more. Now let's return to the video. Sometimes we do have this double-edged sword that at one time we try to protect our culture, therefore we sort of have our community that are living among ourselves. We don't want to sort of call it integrate or assimilate, but I think the English were having a different word for it. They call it association during the time of colonialism. Then the French, of course, basically do the same thing, but they call it assimilation. So the French sort of told their African colony that you are French. The English told you, okay, you are friends. we can work together. Of course, right. They are basically deciding everything. But the French said, no, you are part of us. So they are writing the rule for them anyway. Of course, neither the assimilation nor the association actually cater for the interest of the African people. That is just by the way. Now, looking at today, many communities across Europe, and I believe, let's just say across the West, you do have this situation where you have a society that look like Africans in Europe, but you do have some disparity, very huge in them. In that this, of course, okay, I said it's a double-edged sword, no? In that at one point, it helps you to be able to retain your culture. It helps you to be able to live among yourself, to discuss your issues and the rest of that. And of course, this is usually, there is no threat usually if what you're organizing a religious institution, for then it's fine. But of course, when you start talking about political issues and all that, then you start having some infiltration coming in from the European. They want to become part of it. Those are just, well, I don't want to say all of them, but they are usually spies because they want to see what is happening so that they can report back to the government who want to be in control. But if you are talking about church now, we are just doing the hallelujah thing. You don't represent any threat, because you are basically playing the game again, I am looking at this situation now. We're talking about the community, looking at the game. What is your perspective? I don't know if you have had the chance to look at this African community in the diaspora that I'm trying to describe here. I don't know if you have had any experience with them. Because sometimes, for example, just to give you an instance, this community that we have, there are a lot of poverty in them, very, very poor in the way they are. Sometimes they are even sometimes described as ghettos, as it were. So in there, not everybody that is of African descent really live inside this community. So do go out and live in other area. They want to look like the European. They live like the European. They do what the European do. But there are these Africans who go outside, maybe to work, but they return to this small, I don't know whether you want to call it ghetto or something like that. So thinking of the game that we are in, what is your take on that?
Well, I want to address something you did say about the French. The French do, and I don't know if there's another country that does this, how the French does it, but I know that the French does prioritize assimilation. So like if you are, I don't know, let's say you're Sudanese and you come to France, you're no longer Sudanese, like you should feel like you're French and like be French and like that's how you should refer to yourself. But I think that's a kind of like a way to create like, I don't know, quote unquote color blindness and like have racism in a more covert level. So even though you are technically French, there is still underlying implicit biases and microaggressions and racism that you still have to face, which can be super damaging and draining for an African person. And I've heard those stories and I've been to France and I know how it can be, especially Paris. And I know that it's similar in the UK as well. Like they have like European countries are very, racist. Not all of them, maybe, I don't know. But I know that I feel better back home in Ghana than anywhere else. But for your question, it's more so tailored for Africans who return back to their hometown or back to like this community that they've created that you label a ghetto. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. No, yeah. Correct. No, I was trying to see How do you see this community, since we are talking about maybe how to rebuild ourselves, how to build ourselves actually, because I do see that the African diaspora is a huge force as far as I can see, because we are hundreds of millions of people, like I often say. But sometimes we need to understand, how does this community even work? The one that we want to call even our community. You can either look at maybe the African communities, many of them in Europe, European countries, Germany, France, Italy, UK, or look at the other one like those in the Caribbean, in Brazil, for example. There is no consensus among us to sort of find a united front. For this reason, sometimes the economy, even in this community, are not controlled by the Africans in the diaspora in most of the cases. So I am trying to see what kind of game is actually being played there. So I wanted to see what is your take there, because we can look at it from the point of view of economy, meaning the money that we go to work outside and we bring it to this community. Who really is controlling that money? Who is controlling the finance? Who is controlling the religion, the spirituality in this? Who is controlling the history, the narrative that is going on there? Who is controlling the information that is going in and out of this community that we have? And yeah, that is sort of what I know there are different dimensions to look at it, but I just wanted to see what is your take.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say I'm just thinking about when I was in France and I found like pockets of like African communities. And I would think that, so one of the goals and solutions that I'm advocating for is for us to work for ourselves, work for our own communities, and build within our own communities. So basically circulating whatever wealth that we have within our communities that can help grow our communities and push our communities forward. And in some ways, I know that when I was in France, I can't remember like what neighborhood I was in, but I did see that. I did see like there were African shops and restaurants and us going there. But I think that we do have to like push it forward and do more. Like, and I think more in like the production field. Like I remember going to a African print shop, like not print shop, but like African like cloth shop basically. And most of those cloths were created in Europe, I think in France or Netherlands, or maybe came from China, something crazy. And it's like it's great that you have the store and you're selling it, but we have to produce our own African cloths because that's our culture, and that's very important. So I think that when we address the roots problems like those and become economically empowered to do those things, that is when we start to have like more solutions. It's one thing to like just be in a community, but it's another thing to actually be producers in your community. And that's what I think we should be striving and advocating for in this day and age, for us to basically create our own game. The only way we can create our own game is if we're producing, not consuming, but producing. So that's the big.
You see, sometimes what is happening to the African diaspora is also happening to Africa. Hi, and thank you for checking out this short clip from Obehi Podcast. I'm Obehi Ewanfo, the host of the Obehi Podcast. This short clip was created from a full episode where we dive deep into this conversation. To see the entire video, all you need to do is to click on the link in the description of this video. Now, while you are there, I want to share something with you quickly. Are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Do you want to cut across the noise and attract the right audience, leveraging the power of storytelling? Now pay attention. I'm currently working on a signature program to help you own your story and stand out for the competition. It's a 5-step journey to help reshape your professional and business narrative so you can drive success and stand out in the competition. And in less than 90 days. The link is what you see on your screen, academy.aclasses.org/story. Now this is what we have understood. Storytelling is the most powerful instrument that is known to man. And this is what this could mean to you. You could either choose to own your story and leverage it to amplify your message and whatever you represent in this world, or some other person could own that story. The choice is yours. So why don't take advantage of your story and use it wherever you are? whether you are in business environment or you are a professional individual who want to be able to build your influence and leave a legacy behind because you represent something. You are owning your story. You are somebody whose story is important. So the choice again is yours. Now let's get started with this short clip.